Apparently, you're supposed to capture your audience's attention in the first 20 seconds of your video, so...
And his name is John C.
Okay, now that I totally have everyone's attention captivated, let me get into the disclaimer. And I just want to say that I don't encourage anybody to do what I did, nor do I condone it. This is just something I did when I was younger because I was dumb, so please don't get any ideas from it. This is just something meant to entertain you, and I thought it'd be funny to share. So be smart, make good decisions, leave the bad ones up to me so you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, let's get into the video now. When I started my freshman year of college, I had moved out of Boise, Idaho and into Portland, Oregon, and I was super excited because moving to a bigger city meant that I got to experience something I always missed out on because I lived in Boise, which was concerts. Occasionally, a band or artist I like would come to Boise, but let's be real. What artist is going to perform in Boise, freaking Idaho? Like, can you imagine a popular artist releasing their tour dates and locations and seeing that they're going to be performing in Idaho? Dude, did you see that Kendrick Lamar just released his tour date schedule? Oh, no way, for real? Yeah, dude, let's check it out. All right, let's see. LA, Seattle, New York, Boise. Where the hell is that? I think it's in Iowa. Nah, dude, you're thinking of Ohio. Oh, yeah. So after about 2 weeks of getting comfortable in my dorm, I finally got to the point where I was starting to get to know everyone and was making friends. One of the people I met was actually a really talented musician, and we shared similar music tastes, so I would occasionally talk to him. One day we were on the topic of concerts and artists we really like to see, and I'm not exactly sure on the exact wording he said, but it was something along the lines of this. Yeah, Neil Young is coming to town, but it's too expensive, and it's on a school night, so... Hold up, Neil Young is coming? The Neil Young? Are we talking about the same Neil? Oh my god, is he oh my god. And for those of you who don't know who this magnificent musician is, just look him up later, but here's a picture of the goofball. As soon as I found out the news that Neil Young was coming, I immediately whipped out my phone to buy tickets, but right when I saw the ticket prices, my heart of gold turned into a heart of sadness and disappointment because the tickets were selling for like $200. Look, I like Neil Young, but I don't like him enough to give him my life savings. Now, this is where the story ends for most people, but this is where the story just began for me. I wasn't going to take no for an answer because I was going to see Neil Young. I didn't know how I would do it. I didn't know if I could. I didn't know if anything was possible, but I knew somehow I had to see Neil Young. Later that same night when I was trying to sleep and just when I was about to give in to the fact that I probably wasn't going to see my idol perform live, that's when I heard it. I heard a voice in my head. It was faint, but I heard it, and I heard it say, "Sneak in." Now, before I go any further, I just want to say that the idea of sneaking into a concert wasn't necessarily a new idea to me. You know, a few months before I moved to Oregon, one of my friends sent me a link over Facebook, and surprisingly, I still have the message, so here's what they said. They said, "Hey, check out this documentary. It's about this guy who sneaks into music festivals." So I checked it out, and I thought it was cool, and I didn't really think much of it, or that I would consider doing it to myself, but here I am. So there I was, laying in bed, and I was plotting. Phase 1. The plan went as following. The day of the concert, I would leave class early to prep for my mission. I needed to get to the venue a few hours before the show started to lessen my chances of running into security. Since the venue was approximately, I'm not walking or biking there distance away, I would call an Uber in the parking lot of a hotel off campus, just so I knew I wouldn't be spotted. Once I got to the location, I would then initiate Phase 2. The next morning after I hatched my master plan, I decided to tell my friends about it, and oh boy, they all had different reactions. But the general consensus was that they thought it was dumb and I was going to get caught immediately. Well, big mistake, because that only made me salty and more determined to get in just to prove everyone wrong. Anyway, when the day of the concert rolled around and I was ready, I got out of class, grabbed my bag, and hopped in the Uber waiting for me, and made it to the venue where Neil Young would be performing. When I got to the venue, it was time. Time to initiate Phase 2. I pretty much just tested all the doors until I found one that wasn't locked. But for the sake of this video, let's just pretend I climbed through one of the vents, okay? Once I got into the building, I found a place to sit near venue seating that would have looked suspicious at other concert venues, but luckily for me, this wasn't like other venues. You see, the building where Neil Young was going to be performing was actually on a college campus, and where I was sitting was a place for students to study. So I perfectly blended into the surroundings. On the outside, I was just a college student studying for class, but in reality, I was sweating profusely in an anxious wreck. As time went on, more students started to leave the building, and the event staff started showing up, security started showing up, and people who were just generally supposed to be there started showing up. And I was there trying to act my best, like I was completely oblivious to my surroundings as a concert was being set up around me. Trying to blend in was a good plan when there were still students studying around me, but now I started to stand out because I was pretty much the only one not wearing a uniform. And as I was sitting there, security approached me, and something along the lines of this happened.
Excuse me, there's an event in this building tonight, and unless you have permission to be here right now, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Oh, oh, there is? I didn't even notice. I guess I was just so focused on my work.
Oh, that's okay. Let me show you where to exit.
Yeah, sure. Let me just get my stuff together. Anyway, out of curiosity, do you know who's performing tonight?
Yeah, it's Neil Young.
Wait, are you serious? Dang, I might actually buy tickets now.
Yeah, there still might be some left if you're lucky, but anyways, just keep walking straight and then follow the exit signs.
Okay, thanks. Oh shit. At this point, I had started to implement Phase 3. I had already made it this far, and the show was going to start in about an hour or so I had to think quick about what I was going to do. I was getting closer to the exit, and my chances of seeing Neil Young were dwindling. It was one of those moments where you have a limited amount of time to make a decision in the next 5 seconds that's going to immediately affect you in the future. So what I did in that moment was quickly dart left into the bathroom by the exit. At this point, the security guard had stopped walking with me, but they were still directly behind me, and when I darted into the bathroom, I didn't look to see if they were walking away from me or watching to make sure I left the building. So either they were turned around and they didn't see me abruptly dart into the bathroom, or they were watching me and just thought I really had to go to the bathroom. Either way, for the time that I was in the bathroom, the security guard never cared to check if I had actually left the building. But anyways, since the show didn't start for another hour or so, that meant I had to wait in the bathroom for an hour. And you know, it's exactly how you'd expect it to be. Yeah. I just kind of hung out in one of the stalls, but luckily for me, I planned ahead and I brought a book, so that was fun. And as time went on, more and more people started to come into the bathroom, and anytime someone came into the bathroom, I would get like super paranoid that it was security coming to bust my ass and take me to, concert jail. I eventually realized that the venue had opened and the show was about to start, and that's why there was an influx of people in the bathroom. So I knew I had to leave the safety of my stall to get to the seating area, and that took up a lot of courage. But when I eventually got the courage to leave... What's up, bitches? I'm ready for the show I totally paid for. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Holy shit, I'm so pumped! Yeah, Neil Young! Just kidding. I tried to act as casual as possible as I left the bathroom, and when I got out, it was packed. There were people everywhere. People were buying merch, buying food and drinks, talking about how excited they were for the show. And I'm usually not a big fan of crowded spaces, but I've honestly never been so relieved in my life to see such a big group of people, because I could easily blend in and stay hidden from security. So as I was walking around, guess who I run into? It was someone holding their drink. But after that, I run into my good old pal, the security guard from earlier.
Hey, what are you still doing here?
Who, me? Well, actually, I couldn't miss out on the opportunity to see Neil Young, so I bought a ticket.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, I bought a ticket.
Okay, well, enjoy the show.
Smooth as fuck. So right after my run-in with ya boy, I hear the audience start going nuts. I check my phone and it is exactly Neil Young o'clock and the show is starting and I'm not in the audience yet. As I start walking towards the entrance to the seating area, I hear a very familiar voice, and it's no other than Neil Young's. As soon as he comes out on stage, my whole plan to try and act as natural as possible just flies out the window because my inner fanboy just comes out and I start freaking out. It takes every fiber in my body not to just start screaming Neil Young at the top of my lungs, but I keep my composure and I enter the seating area and there he was up on stage in all his glory. I get to my seat and I know that as soon as my booty makes contact with that seat, I am home free. All I gotta do is just sit. Now, I know, you're probably wondering how I even had a seat. Well, you remember how I said I had to wait in the bathroom for like an hour? Well, while I was in there, besides reading, I did some research and I looked up which seats never sold and I memorized the row and number of my seat. And the best part is, the seats that usually don't sell because they're too expensive. That's right, I got one of the best seats in the house, completely free of charge.